Hello everyone, I honestly don't even know when the last time I uploaded a video, but my tongue-tie journey was. I think it was in the summer. It's now January 2024. I've been waiting until I had concrete stuff to share, and I've been learning absolutely loads about tongues, about tongue ties, about how they affect singing, about who treats them, about what the current research says. I've been learning loads about all of that over the last 6 months or so. But I wanted to update you. Again, my aim here is always for people to be able to learn from me, as in to kind of pave the way, like if this happens to you, and here's some information from my journey. So I've started myofunctional therapy. I've had like an assessment and my first session, and I've been doing exercises 3 times a day for the last less than a week. So I'm really feeling great. I'm really excited. I'm finding the whole process really interesting. And I'm really just like looking forward to improvements and changes in my singing, in my health, because I'm learning more about that too, and kind of just to see how it all goes. So to give you all an update, I have spoken to, since I found out about this, I've spoken to like 4 different practitioners who specialise in tongue tie. One of which was just a phone call, like an introductory kind of thing. 3 of them looked at my tongue. 2 of them looked at my tongue online, and 1 of them I actually went to see in person. And that's been interesting. They all described my tongue in the same way. There's different ways of describing and sort of grading tongue ties, and there are videos on YouTube, which I might link to, that talk about this grading system of 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 being like a fully mobile tongue, or as mobile as possible, and 4 being the least mobile, because it's all about how much your tongue can move, what its range of motion is. And I would say of all the people that looked at my tongue, they all sort of described it the same way. I'll get more into that at some point, which is helpful because there's a lot of skepticism that I've also faced. I've spoken to also 2 other, and I know I've said this before, non-tongue tie specialists, but people that are sort of in this area of the body, and the ones who weren't tongue tie specialists were both like, looks fine to me. I applied for some funding. Again, I'm not going to name any names unless it's like unless I have permission, so I'm not going to name any names, but I applied for some funding that is there to help people fund this kind of treatment, not this kind of treatment, but treatment for specific things. I didn't receive it, and I think that is on the basis that research into tongue tie and understanding more than just the classic anterior tongue tie is new. And unless you have specialised, like chosen to specialise in that, you're not going to know. And it's not a criticism. I knew nothing about this until 6 months ago. And, you know, no one specialises in everything. So I'm finding that people who know about this stuff, who are like really passionate and interested, they go down that rabbit hole and they really understand it. Those who don't will probably tell you don't have a tongue tie if yours is not an anterior all the way to the very front. Now, an anterior tongue tie is often described as a grade 4. Mine has been assessed as being a grade 3/4. So one of the most severe kinds. I don't know if I've said this in any of my videos yet. However, I have had people say that I don't have a tongue tie. People who are non-specialists, who work in this kind of basic field of anatomy, but who aren't tongue tie specialists, they've told me that I don't have one. Whereas all the tongue tie specialists have basically told me I have a fairly severe one. So I'm just saying this so that you know, like, don't be disheartened if you go to someone and they say you don't have one. It's not personal, it's not mean, it's just you need to find someone that is like an expert in this stuff if you suspect you have one. I've also been told there's been an article at some point in the New York Times saying that doctors are diagnosing lots of people with tongue ties as a way to make money. And I think that might be some of the skepticism behind this. Now, I'm in the UK, so our health system is different. Like, doctors don't get paid in that way. But I didn't go to my GP because I knew that they wouldn't prioritize this. I'm doing this mostly as a singer. Not, I wouldn't say to enhance my singing, but actually to solve a lot of difficulties and insecurities I've had about my voice for a long time. That was my main starting point. Now, since I've had my full Myo assessment, so I'm working with Breathe First Speech and Myo based in Manchester, UK. Happy to say that because we have a working relationship, and I know that Emily would be happy to kind of have any of you contact her if you wanted more information. So I went to see her in person, and she is also a speech and language therapist, which I love because vocal coaches, we work quite closely with speech and language therapists. There's a bit of crossover and we work with the same bits of anatomy, but often in different ways. So I love that she's from that background too. And she did such an amazingly thorough assessment of my tongue, my jaw, my body. She took photos, she analysed my posture, my whole body posture to an extent. She took a detailed history of my health from childhood to now. Asked me questions about my teeth, my all sorts of stuff. And she got me to do like a chew test. She had to watch how I chew and how I swallow. And a really interesting thing that came up is that I have trouble chewing and swallowing, which I didn't know. And now, like, I know that you can sort of be like, well, if you didn't know, it can't have been a problem. But imagine you've been like chewing and swallowing a certain way your whole life and you didn't know it wasn't supposed to be that difficult. Like, I had no idea it was meant to be easier, and I never thought of it as difficult because again, I had nothing to compare it to. But what she has shown me is that I use a lot of compensatory muscles in my sternocleidomastoids, which if you have tense SCM muscles, that's quite a common thing for singers, and it can be really restrictive to flexibility of the larynx. I didn't realise that was an issue for me, and that's caused by the way I chew and the way I swallow. So nothing to do with my singing. It's something that I have to do all the time anyway, could be causing me problems with my singing. So that's something that we're hoping to improve. And I believe that is because of the tongue tie. So I have tongue thrust as well, when my tongue goes forwards when I swallow. And that this is all new to me, so apologies if there's anyone watching this and being like, that's not accurate, but I'm trying my best. So I've got relapsed orthodontics, and I have quite a significant overjet with my teeth, caused by the fact that my teeth are constantly pushing on my tongue is constantly pushing on my front teeth. So that will be cool if we can solve that. It's going to help my teeth. Should I go ahead and get orthodontic treatment at some point, which I very much plan to do. That was part of this process, was that I was trying to get my teeth sorted and was not sure whether I kept getting told it was complicated and that I would need surgery because my jaw was not in line. So this will help with that. Again, if you think that my swallowing muscles aren't effective, my tongue gets very tired when I'm chewing, so I don't chew enough while I'm eating. If you think about that and how if those pieces of my anatomy are just weak and potentially tense, and I'm also using other compensatory mechanisms in my body for something that I have to do several times a day, every day, how then when I get around to singing, how problematic that's going to be. So I'm super excited about that. To see how the exercises and the treatment and just having an expert guide me through this is going to help. I have a narrow palate because my tongue wasn't against the roof of my mouth throughout my development, so my palate has not developed. It's not as wide as it should have been. It hasn't had the tongue there to sort of guide its development, which could impact upon whether I can have tongue tie release surgery. So I don't know that yet. So doing the myo, doing the exercises, and staying the course to see what happens. Obviously, I'd like to have the surgery, but not if it's risky. I mean, I'll do whatever it takes to help my health and my singing, whatever that is. What was the other thing? My jaw range of motion is apparently very restricted. Now, I didn't know that. I have had singing teachers and the like say to me before, open your mouth more, and I did. I opened my mouth more when they told me to. But I don't feel TMJ pain, particularly. But apparently I should, from what from how restricted my jaw is. Apparently it should be painful. So I don't know what that is. So I wrote some stuff down I wanted to make sure that I mentioned in this video. So let me just make sure. So one of the things that came up in my assessment was that I can't lift the back of my tongue, particularly or at all. Like, back of my tongue doesn't lift. And in singing, lifting the back of the tongue is really important, particularly for certain frequencies and for certain kind of technical aspects of singing. So I didn't know that I mean, I'm sort of surprised that I can't lift it at all, because my voice doesn't sound bad. It just feels like hard work. So that's sort of interesting. And I hope that through this process, what's going to happen if I go from not being able to lift the back of my tongue at all to being able to lift it quite well? Like, how is that going to change my voice? Like, I'm super excited about that. And what else? Let's see. I mean, that's most of it as to where I'm at right now. If you are experiencing any of this, feel free to reach out to me. Not that I'm an expert, I just like chatting about this stuff. Or go for an assessment with Emily, Breathe First Speech Myo in Manchester, UK. Honestly, even if you don't live near there, I would say it's worth the journey to go and learn a lot about yourself and be put on the path of development and see where that takes you. Because I've learned so much about myself and about the other aspects of my health that I'm hoping that this will improve. I'm hoping it will improve my sleep, because I do find it hard to fall asleep. I'm hoping it will improve my focus and concentration, because that's something I really suffer with. And I'm not going to get into why it would help with that right now, but apparently it can. And what are the other things? I mean, if I can eat and chew more easily, that would be cool. And I do have some issues with gum disease, although I do floss twice a day and brush twice a day with an electric toothbrush. But I do have some issues with that, and supposedly that can be linked to all the issues that I have. So I sort of feel like there's nothing to lose. And for anyone saying that it's a cash cow, no one's pushing me into this, and I don't really see what I can lose from this. So yeah, super excited. I'm going to do some more videos soon that will detail more about a bit more sciencey details about how it affects singing and singers. But like I said, if you want to know any more, please feel free to reach out to me. We can have a chat and I can nudge you towards some info, and or if you've got info for me, like I would love to receive that. So I'll check back in with you soon. Bye folks.